So on the surface, I agree with your quote that you can never have too much pitching, but there are caveats to that because the reality is the 40-man roster exists. The 26-man roster exists. There's only 13 pitching spots on that roster. Minor league options exist. Rule 5 draft picks exist. And having pitching versus being able to keep pitching are two completely different battles. And if we look at our current roster construction, it's going to be hard to keep some of these guys. And now all of a sudden your depth is going to be reduced. So you've got Cease, Gosman, Ponce, Barrio, Scherzer. Those guys look like the starting rotation because we're going to start slow, to varying degrees with Bieber, Savage, and Garcia. All those guys will probably be back in the mix by May 1st. May 1st is where the real roster crunch hypothetically would happen, right? Eric Lauer might start and they might go with 6 off the start to start guys slow or whatever. Hoffman, Varland, Rogers. Now you're at 9 right now. So you've got 4 spots for the remaining guys here. And that's until these guys come back. And then you only have 1 spot for the guys below Rogers, right? Which is problematic. Again, great pitching depth. This doesn't even include the Mackos and the Tiedemans and everybody else. Great pitching depth. The problem lies in the fact that you probably won't be able to roster Fluharty, Little, or Fisher because they have minor league options available to them. So does Lee. He has minor league options available. If you do not roster Bastardo, he goes back for nothing because he was a Rule 5 pick. That goes for Miles as well. If you do not roster him, you lose him for nothing. That's the reality. Nance, same thing. No minor league options. He has to be on the major league roster or you lose him for nothing. So now all of a sudden, depending on how we're breaking this down, we're either starting the year without Fluharty, Little, and Fisher in the bullpen, or we're losing Bastardo, Nance, or Miles for nothing. And all of a sudden that bullpen depth and that pitching depth that we have is in question. You can't just move Max Scherzer or Jose Barrios to the bullpen necessarily. You don't know how that's going to work. Like Barrios' stuff is suboptimal for the bullpen role, and Scherzer has been a starter his entire career. And as somebody who's made the transition from starting full time to relief, it is a completely different durability check on your arm. Your routines are completely thrown off. Everything is different. The idea of going back-to-back days, 3 games in 4 days, coming out of the pen, throwing that frequently is a completely different challenge. And with somebody who's struggled with injuries, throwing off routines at his age and asking him to pitch more frequently might not be the smartest move. So that's another wrinkle in this. But again, you want to have as much pitching as you possibly can, but you need to be able to hold it in your organization. And that's why the reality is I think we have to do a consolidation trade because I don't want to lose high quality arms for nothing so you can keep guys who may or may not pitch much this year, right? I love Max Scherzer. But let's face it, I know some people just started watching the playoffs last year, but he was bad last year. It was real rough. Right? So again, having a lot of pitching is critical. Being able to keep it in your organization, not losing it for nothing is more critical.